Recording in progress. Oh, are we doing all from the beginning?
In the Pop Culture Cupid podcast, we talk about how pop culture influences our expectations in relationships. I'm Alison, love coach, here to help you single people find your way back to love.
Healthy communication. I'm Michelle. I help singles embrace themselves and their singleness, as well as develop a healthy self-relationship. We bring some juicy stories from our own love lives and dating, and it gets pretty interesting. Be focused, we're gonna be to the point, and no digressing.
Self-awareness. Follow, share, subscribe, enjoy.
And like and comment.
If it's shockingly bad, we just re-record another one.
Yeah. No, I think there's some good stuff that you can just nitpick. Hi everyone, Michal from the future over here. I just wanted to pop in and let you know that this episode that you're about to listen to was recorded a while back. So we are chopping it up into shorter episodes to make it easier for you to listen to and follow along with us. So I hope you enjoy this episode, and make sure to like, follow, subscribe wherever you are, and also comment what bad dating advice you have received and whether you listened to it or what you did instead. Bye.
Something that I'm curious about, another piece of fun dating advice that I'm curious to hear what you think, is that a lot of times people have told me that you shouldn't talk about this on the first date and don't talk about that. You should wait X amount of dates before you bring this up. And I'm like, why should there be a timeline to what? I feel like I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to have to wait an X amount of dates till he discovers this about me or something that I want and he may not want, and then we're wasting time and emotion and energy and money. So I'm like, if it comes up on the first date, then it comes up on the first date, and maybe certain things should come up as soon as possible. Like, put all the cards on the table, because especially when you're in your 30s already and you're not wanting to just date around just for the sake of dating around. You want to get to the point. You want to. So, like, for example, my first date, like it sort of happened naturally, but I knew that I wanted to bring it up like right away, so we don't, get into something when we both don't want the same things. Like I said, I don't want to have kids at all. Like, that's not me, and he also doesn't want to, thankfully. But imagine if he did, and then I didn't say it in the first date, and then we waited 5 dates until I finally bring it up, because a certain person told me, oh, wait, you don't want to scare him away with that piece of information. And then sort of that time comes around, and then he's sort of, wait, but I want kids, and this is not going to work. So, yeah.
I think it's not black and white. I think there are nuances, but you said it quite well in the, if it comes up, it comes up. But with kids, I think kids is the one thing that you want to be sure about as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I want kids. Oh, I want a kid at one point, and on my first date with Justin Timberlake, I for some reason didn't know that he had a child who was 2.5 at the time. I don't know. That kind of escaped, like that information ran away from me. And then he just told me about his kid, and I said, whoa, wait, you have a kid? And he said, yeah, I thought you knew. And I said, no, I didn't know. And so my mind was racing, like, how do I feel about this? And just needed to catch up. And then I said, I feel you need to know that I want kids. I don't want kids now. I don't want to, I'm not pressuring you into anything, but people who have kids may not want more kids. And so I said it on the first day. It came up, and I said, I need to talk about this. And I also feel that when you are sure about something as big as kids, like, you're not going to compromise on having kids. It's just, you're not going to have
It's impossible.
Exactly. It's not like, oh, I want a kid, let's adopt a cat or a dog. It's just, so no, you want to, I think you want to say it as soon as possible. I think when you're 18, you want to give yourself some time of just really thinking about it. But when you get to 30 is still young, but you still kind of, you have come out of school, you've been working, your mindset is a bit different. And when you're 18, you're thinking about having kids when you're 30. When you're 30, you're
Yeah.
thinking about having kids kind of about now. So you want to be,
Yeah.
so I think kids is the thing. You want to just talk about it like off the bat. I know what I want. Because usually when you're in your 30s and above, like things are clear. And if things are not clear, then that's fine. But make sure that you are ready to assume the consequences. That has to be that. So with kids, it's a great example. I think the advice of you don't want to tell him that and scare him off. Well, if you're sure that you don't want kids and he's sure that he wants kids, and you're 5 dates in, 10 dates in, and feelings are like kind of coming up,
Yeah.
it's just chaotic. With all of the rest of, I was married and now I'm divorced, or I had this disease or this whatever and things like that. People talk about having AIDS or, everything else that's not this having kids, then if it comes up, it comes up. And
Yeah.
it's the thing in the first date that if you're with somebody who can't hear that you have a past, then they're not mature enough to be dating you.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Yeah.
also don't want to be forcing yourself into a conversation that may bring up a lot of things. So it's just
Yeah.
see how it goes. And it fits into the whole feel how you like, just observe how you feel. And if it's the right moment, then talk about it, but don't force the conversation. So the advice of don't bring it up is stupid. It's just no. If it feels like it has to come
Yeah.
up, it has to come up.
Especially since it usually is like accompanied by you don't want to scare them away right away, or you don't want them to get the wrong impression, and you don't want it, like I feel like it's just ridiculous. It's who you are. You can't avoid it. And if they're not 100% with you because of this one thing or because a few things, then you want to know it as soon as possible, and you don't want to have to go through the whole tiring process of going on date after date, and then like only after 5 or 6 7 dates discover that they don't want to date someone with a kid, or they don't want to date someone who wants to get married right away, or they don't want to date someone who's divorced, or whatever it is. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and mhm.
I agree. I was thinking about this other client who's been separated from his wife for 2 years now, and the divorce still isn't final, only because 20+ year marriage, like divorces are messy and things like that. And so he's kind of not having trouble, but he's a very handsome guy. I don't have any worries about him dating anyone. But some women are saying, I don't want to be dating somebody who's not divorced yet. And if they are blocking at this when, they're not looking for deeper information of how long have you guys been separated,
Yeah.
is she aware that you're dating, because it could always be a lie. And if people put barriers up without going deeper, it's fine. There is no judgment. It's fine. But
Mhm.
think of it yourself of just, well, is this a type of person that I really want? And we all have,
Yeah.
as I said, our values and our boundaries, and I agree those are two different things. Of the value is close to our heart, and the boundary can just kind of like be further away but still be very strong.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you want to listen to all of that. And the whole, yeah, but what if they don't like me? Well, then they don't like you. And and I know it's cliche, it's uncomfortable advice, it's uncomfortable talk, because the result of what if they don't like me is I'm still going to be alone. You don't want to be with somebody who doesn't like you for a couple of years and then start over in 2 years. You want to avoid yourself that suffering.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that went really like, that went fast. Very.
Yeah. Should we dive into a couple more, or?
Yeah. I love this.
Okay. Perfect. Me too. I love it. I love debunking dating advice. So another thing that irks me to the core of my bones is when people say don't play hard to, oh no, sorry, play hard to get. And I'm like, okay, wait on a minute. We need to take this apart a minute. First of all, the whole concept of because this is playing games to me, the whole concept of ignoring calls or taking a while to answer them or pretending to be busy and you can't go out on a date, that's just ridiculous. That's opening the gate for games.
Right.
And that's like also, I mean, if you don't have any plans and you want to go out, then just go out. I mean, what's the big deal? Like, he's not going to think you're desperate because you don't have plans on a certain night. And if he does think you're desperate for that, then that's the least of your worries, because he's not the right person probably. But I feel like you're just gonna miss out on. You might miss out on a great person. Same with, again, my boyfriend. He asked me out on I think it was a Sunday night, and he was like, we were chatting for a couple of days, and then he was like, "Hey, if you want, maybe tonight we can do something." And I'm like, I could have said, oh, I have plans because I want to seem cool, because I don't want to seem desperate. But I was like, yeah, let's do it. And he was like, and it ended up being amazing. It was fun. And I'm like, you could miss out. And then he could have, if I said no and whatever, it could have sort of, it sort of could have faded, or we could have like not found a different time after that to meet up. So it's like, if you have the opportunity and it's last minute, then what's the big deal? There's no reason to, so there's like the two aspects of also not missing out and not pretending to be busy when you're not, and also not playing games of like, sometimes I do that too, because I'm like, but just, if you're actually busy, then that's fine. But don't pretend to be busy just to not answer them right away and to not seem desperate, or to not, I feel like that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I that the words that's the in that 4-word sentence, there are 3 words that are bad: play, hard,
Mm-hmm.
get. Playing games is great, but it's
In
not
bed.
real, in bed, amazing.
Yes.
I was thinking more on board games, but great.
Well, that's nice too, I guess.
Playing, it's not real life, so why would you play in real life? It's stupid. Hard, like, everything in life is difficult enough as it is. You don't want to be adding obstacles to what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you are not an object, you are not a prize, you have worth, so you don't want anyone to get you or have you, even though we may talk about this whole, it's romantic to feel like he's mine and I'm his, or whatever. Playing hard to get is just, you're not a carnival game. I agree wholeheartedly. And it's, I mean, one of my previous relationships, I kind of fell into that of just not honoring what I was wanting from him and things like that. And so I wasn't texting him. That lasted over a year. It's like, when do you stop? When do you stop?
Mm-hmm.
And when do you switch?
Yeah.
And with Justin Timberlake, I'm gonna
you're gonna go for it. You're gonna go for it.
We fell into each other. I mean, that sounds very whatever. I'm gonna move on from that sentence. But we met, and then we went on our first date. And then during that first date, he texted me saying, no, not during that first date, but he said, what are you doing tomorrow? When do you go to the gym? And I said, I usually go in the morning. He said, well, if you want to go at lunch tomorrow at lunch with me, I'd really love that. So we ended up going at lunch the next, like, 12 hours later. And then he texted me in the afternoon saying, I had plans tonight. Do you want to see each other? And so I did have plans, but I kind of cut those plans short, saying, yeah, sure, I'll see you again.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of went really fast. And then I went away for a bit. And so we called each other a lot during that time. And that was fine. And I'm not saying you should be looking for that. I'm saying that felt right at the time. And so we did.
Mm-hmm.
And any coach would have told, any dating coach, well, a lot of dating coaches would have definitely said, don't pick up, don't see him so fast, don't seem so available, things like that. Well, that's what I was wanting and needing at that time. And it turns out that he was giving that and he was wanting it as well. And so it happened. And, many months later, we're still together and in love. And that's great.
That's amazing.
And if I hadn't done that, then we would just not be together today. It's just for sure. So, yeah, you want to just, if you want to write to him, then do it. And if he doesn't respond, and if he's not on that type of energy, then he probably never will. You may kind of lull him into a false sense of security of, oh, this girl, she's not so needy, or we're on the same wavelength and things like that. And then your needs are never being honored. And because we're women dating men, which, we assume that we're talking to women, but the same goes for men. If you want to write to her, or if you want to not write to her, then, but still be with her, then that's fine. You want to honor that and just make sure that your needs are being met, because you may be wanting to give more or give less and things like that. So playing hard to get is just, again, it's I think the idea, I hate that. I hate this.
It's ridiculous.
You want to just see how you are, because if you're being anything else, if you're not doing what you need in the moment, it's a recipe for never getting what you want.
Exactly. And losing out and constantly missing out. And I feel like, look, I also hate the words that are used, and I'm going to use them anyway just for the lack of better words at the moment, but like, I feel like you shouldn't play hard to get, you should be hard to get. And what I mean by that is not to like play games at all. What I mean is, don't pretend to have a full life and to be busy. Don't pretend that you can't go out. Don't pretend that you can't answer right away. Live your life. And that's the problem a lot of times with people that I see who are trying to just avoid being by themselves and are just desperate to find someone and just going on day after day after day after day. They're not taking the time to actually live their life and fill it up. That's sort of like naturally being hard to get.
Yeah.
Sort of nurturing your friendships and your family and your hobbies and your career and your passions, and going on adventures and traveling and doing things with yourself and in your life that make you seem, not only make you seem to have, you don't have to pretend to have a life, you actually have a life. And I find that makes us more interesting to the other person, and that's more appealing. And that person also knows, okay, they have a life. They won't be relying solely on me to make them happy, to lift them up, to make them strong, to entertain them, to be there for them, because they already have a life. And I feel like I sort of get the point of, like, when you're dating someone and they're very easy, or they don't have anything going on for them, that's kind of a turn off. But like,
amen,
you don't have to play games. You just have to focus. I feel like that's the best kind of thing that you can do is don't focus on just trying to be something for someone or pretending or playing games. Is just actually be that person. If that's who you want to be, then go out and do it and do things, and then it sort of naturally be just, you won't be willing to also just go for anyone, and you won't be as easy or just willing to settle for anyone you can get. You're going to be that hard to get person because you have a life, and you're not going to give up your time just for anyone.
Amen. And I will add to that if you, for lack of a better word, are hard to get, even though there's, if you are a high quality person, you will only accept, people who will add value, which is great. And if you are playing hard to get, and if you are just kind of pretending things like that, first of all, people will see that. They won't see it as in, oh, she's playing a game, but they'll see it, there's something off. with the whole
Yeah.
personality, because you're not just being honest. And then the other thing is that you Michelle, went through this. I feel like you went from being this very active woman, and then when your guy came into your life, you adapted to him, and so you just carved out some time, and it was fine because you just, you made that available. But if you're forcing yourself into something that's not natural, then you're not going to be able to have the accurate, correct amount of time, and then you're just going to miss out. Because why would, if you are not available when he's available and things like that, then you're just going to kind of miss these opportunities, because if you are missing the opportunity because you are genuinely busy and genuinely have a life, then that's great. But if you are missing it because you're pretending and then it turns out that something else and things like that, it's not going to feel as great.
Yeah, I was a pro at being busy and being constantly doing something. And to me, it was like the thought of making time for someone was near impossible. And I feel like, first of all, with the right person, you find the time. You find the time. You find the ways to put them into your schedule and to spend time with them. And you also sort of, again, you're not willing to just make time for anyone, and with the right person you want to do that, and it's okay to do that, and you have to know when you want to and when you don't. So
Michal from the future here again. Thank you so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe wherever you are, and let us know your thoughts on today's episode. Until the next time, bye bye.